Greetings guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Presently, my life is chaos. Everything in my life right now is hectic and moving. Kat just moved back to New Zealand. It was like a rush thing. She was meant to move back at the end of this month, but something came up and she had to leave like within 3 days. So that was massive. That was a big change. If you don't know, Kat is my best friend and we have lived together for 5 years, and she just had to go all the way back home to New Zealand. So I'm feeling real weird about it. Feels very strange existing without her. And at the same time, I'm getting ready for a move. I have to move in 3 weeks and I still don't have somewhere to live. Me and my partner are getting a place together. Where is it gonna be? I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out. And then on top of that, also, I had COVID a month ago and I still have a cough and break out into a coughing fit every couple of minutes. So, and I'm on my period. So like life is so good and together and great and awesome right now. My emotions are totally 100%. Everything is so fine and good and dandy. So like with all of that being said, today I am choosing to suffer. And I am bringing you all along for the ride with me, because if my emotions are already going to be all over the place and like at the extreme, why not pile on? Why not sit down and get ridiculously mad about something? So that's what we're doing today. Because, you know, there are a lot of problematic couples on the internet, right? There are so many problematic influencer couples. TikTok especially is an absolute goldmine of them. I have made videos about quite a few of them. But there is this one couple in particular that I stumbled upon a couple of days ago that I have somehow, thankfully, never seen before. They have 840,000 followers, and I have been so lucky to have never encountered them before, and I'm very upset that I was made aware of them. I had to see them and be made aware of their existence. I'm making it all of your problems too, all right? We're going into this and we are going to suffer together, because that is what we do here. And if you enjoy this video, please do not forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 500k by the end of the year, and over 50% of you are regular viewers but are not subscribed, so you might think you're subscribed but you actually aren't, so go get a check. Maybe you're not, but you should be. Now that you've done that, now that you're obviously subscribed, let's get into it. All right, so this couple in question, they have been together for 6 years now. There is a man called Rafael, and he is 47, and his wife, Aya, who is 25. So I'm gonna give you 1 second to do that maths, all right? So he's 47, she's 25. They've been together for 6 years. Yeah, so, you did do that maths correctly that you just did. They were 19 and 41 when they met. So that's really super cool and fun. And of course, obviously, they have built their entire brand around this for the past several years. 90% of their content is just about the fact they have this 21-year age gap, and they met when she was 19 and he was 41. And it's horrifying. And obviously, naturally, there is so much that we need to get into about this. The way I found them was through this one TikTok that someone made a stitch for. And this TikTok has a couple of million views. Yeah, let's give it a watch. 19-year-old who wanted to be married and become a young mom. 41-year-old who wanted a family for so long. Worried about the age gap and what our families might think. Deciding we didn't care and started a family. And it's like going back and forth and they're like shaking hands. And at the end, it ends with the man sitting with their like 3-year-old daughter sitting on his lap. Obviously, a lot of people come into the comments and are like, sorry, am I doing that maths correctly? And I agree with all the concern and the outrage, because there is no world in which a 41-year-old should ever be pursuing a 19-year-old. You are over double her age. That is over double the age. 19, that's like just out of high school, versus someone who has had a full career, could have had multiple careers by this point, could be you know, her father, right? Like, you are 19, you are fresh to adulthood. You've not experienced the world yet. And that's what makes it so concerning, right? That is the issue. Because in general, like, a 21-year age gap it's a lot, right? I do think you can get to an age where a 21-year age gap is like not that problematic. It's weird, right? Like, I'm not a fan of it. I can't imagine dating someone who's like in their 40s. That just doesn't make sense to me. But like, if you are like 40 and dating a 60-year-old, that's fine, whatever. You're both adults, you've both lived lives, right? You could be in your 30s dating someone in their 50s, like whatever. You're both adults, you have both lived life and experienced life. You've had enough time to like be an individual and understand how the world works and develop your own personal experiences. And once you get to a certain point in adulthood, it kind of doesn't really matter that much anymore. There are other power dynamics to watch out for, but like, age doesn't really matter that much. It does not work, however, when someone is in their like late teens, early 20s, or like 20s younger, obviously. Like, it just doesn't work there because she doesn't have any life experience. She's barely out of school. She's barely out of school. And that's why it's so problematic, right? Because these older men, they come into this situation and they see someone who they don't know, she doesn't know how to be an adult, right? She doesn't know how to be an adult. So now he gets to teach her. He gets to now mold her into the type of adult that he wants her to be. He has like a fresh person that he gets to teach what life looks like, especially because her goal is to be a stay-at-home mom and wife. Like, her entire adult existence is starting off with this man who knows exactly who he is, exactly what he wants, exactly what he desires, exactly what he wants his partner to be. And he can come in there and she has no one else, no experience, no work experience, nothing. And he can do what he wants. He can tell her anything is normal. He can mold her in whatever way he wants to. And she's not going to know any better because she has not had any life experience. And that is why these men love these younger women and why it is so problematic. Like, people are like, they're both adults. Barely. 19. That still has fucking teen in it. She's still a teenager. 19 does not count. I'm sorry. I'm 25 and I wouldn't date a 19-year-old. I'm 25 and I wouldn't date someone who's like under 21. Like, one part of this video that I find very interesting is the part where they say, like, he wanted a family for so long. And this is something they say a couple times. There are a couple of instances where they say that, like, you know, he wanted to be a dad, but, you know, he thought that the time had passed. Like, this one TikTok that just reads, when he thought the chance to be a father had passed, but he is now going on outside adventures with this 2-year-old at 47. It's never too late for new beginnings. And there are a few TikToks like this where it's like, he wanted a family, he didn't think he could have one, but then he finally got the opportunity. But then they have this one that says, 19-year-old me trying to convince my husband that it is in fact a good idea to start over and have a baby together, even though he was 41 and already had a kid my age. So like, which one of these things is it? Or is it both? Which is like kind of really ridiculously sad because it's giving like, he has a kid my age, but he doesn't love them. He doesn't care about them. They don't count. He needs to start over. He's never had a family before. That family doesn't matter. They don't count. This man is like, I want a family, not them though. They can leave. I don't give a fuck about them. I want a new family. I want a new one because I didn't like the old one. So I'm like, this 19-year-old girl who's the same exact age as my daughter, she seems like a really good place to start. Pardon? Pardon? No. Like, there are so many things wrong with this idea. Like, either they're lying one way or the other, or it is this situation of like, he just doesn't give a fuck about his actual family. If you are going into a relationship with someone and they say they don't have a family and they think it's too late to have a family, and then you find out they already have a kid, surely you run the other way. Surely that's a red flag, because if he can like move on from a family that quickly and act like they don't exist to the point where he says that he doesn't have a family, why do you want a kid with him? Why do you want a kid with him? Like, red flag number 1, he's 41 and you're 19. Red flag number 2, he doesn't count his kid as having a kid. Also, can you imagine, right? Like, being 19 and your 41-year-old dad comes up to you and says that he's dating a 19-year-old. Like, I would feel so uncomfortable. Like, so uncomfortable. Also, like, especially if your dad's not like involved in your life. It's like daddy issues, but like the other way around, and that's so much worse. That's so much worse. And like, listen, that's a horrifying, disgusting, troubling thought of, you know, that idea that like women who have daddy issues find men who like fill that role of father or whatever, which is like, it's a whole weird thing, right? Doing it the other way around and having a 19-year-old girlfriend because your 19-year-old daughter isn't in your life anymore is a lot weirder and a lot worse. And I would love to say that that's not a thing that's happening, but it does feel like this kind of goes both ways in that idea. When she posts TikToks like this, where she is like sitting on his lap and he's like cradling her, and it says, "When someone asks me if I'm a mommy or daddy's girl, but I'm literally my husband's baby." You have to understand how weird that sounds, right? Like you have to hear yourself. You have to see that and know that that's a really fucking weird thing to say. Like, I know that people call their partners like baby, right? I know that's a thing. I don't really get it, but like, it's a thing, whatever. But when your husband is twice your age and has a daughter the same age as you sitting in his lap and saying that you are his baby, you understand how, like, that's really fucking weird and concerning. And he has no issue with that. Like, he's like, yeah, you are. I hope that his daughter has some sort of protection order against him, because like, I wouldn't want anything to do with him. I wouldn't want to be anywhere fucking near this man if that's the situation that is happening, right? That's disgusting. And something else that really plays onto this like fucked up age gap power dynamic is this, all right? This is just about their heights. He is 6 foot and she is 5 foot. And so there's this video of him bending down to like see eye to eye and then standing up. And obviously there are foot difference. There is a massive gap. She's up to like his shoulders, all right? And like, height does not matter. Typically, right? I don't think it matters at all. Some people are short, some people are tall. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Like, a 5 foot person can date a 6 foot person. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever, do whatever. However, when it comes to a relationship such as this one, I do think it's concerning. I do think it's concerning because although, like, you know, some adults are obviously 5 foot, 5 foot is the height of a child. Like, I think the last time I was 5 foot, I would have been like 10 or 11, right? Like, yeah, I think I was 5 foot when I was like 11 years old, right? Like 5 foot is very small, and like, you can't help your height, obviously. And I think that if you're 5 foot, you can date people who are 6 foot, whatever. However, if you are 6 foot tall, you're a 41-year-old man, and the person you are pursuing is a 5 foot tall teenager, I'm questioning you. I'm questioning it. Because already you've chosen a young target, but the fact not only have you chosen a young target, you have chosen a young target who is the size of an 11-year-old. It just adds a whole extra layer of concerning, and really, to me, emphasizes the idea of like, I would go younger if I could. Again, you can be 5 foot tall and date tall people. It doesn't matter. You can be tall and like date a short person, and it doesn't make you a predator. It doesn't make you anything. Like, that's not a bad thing. It's just when you put all the things together that it's a problem. You know? Like, all of it together is a problem. As a separate thing, whatever. I just need to say that. Now, obviously, like, one of the biggest issues with a relationship like this, where they do have such a massive age gap, and not only the massive age gap, but when the relationship started and how old they were when they started, is obviously, as I said, the ability to manipulate, right? It's the fact that, you know, when you are so much older and you have so much life experience and you are treating your girlfriend as a child and she is treating you as an adult, because it's kind of what you are, you're gonna be able to manipulate her in a lot of ways. She is going to be in a position where she, you know, thinks that she has a lot of power and thinks that they are on equal footing, but absolutely are not. There is no way in this relationship for them to have equal power. It's impossible. They do not have equal power, no matter what either of them choose to say. There is a bunch of TikToks that she makes that really emphasize the fact that she is absolutely being manipulated. And the first one I wanted to talk about is this one where someone commented being like, "You are being groomed." And this was her response to it.
As you're right, my husband, he's a crazy, controlling narcissist, and it's been a really difficult 6 years for me because I don't know how to exit this relationship safely. He has control over my phone. I can't talk to my friends or my family. It's just been really tough for me. And scene. Okay, I really need to know. Why is it that you guys always assume that my husband is the crazy and controlling one? Like, why is it never me? Why can't I be the crazy, controlling, manipulative one? What is my husband giving off that's giving that vibe to you guys? If I'm trapped, then please leave me here because I'm into dark romance and this works for me.
So obviously there's a whole bunch of things to unpick here. There's a whole bunch of things to unpick here. Firstly, we shouldn't be mocking the idea of being trapped and abused, right? Like, you shouldn't be turning that into a joke that you were starting your video off with, especially when so many people are expressing concern for you. Like, just don't be fucking doing that. And then the whole, like, how do you know I'm not crazy and manipulative? Why is it always him? Why do you all assume that he's the bad guy? Because even if you were manipulative or like the one who's like hot-headed and yells and like gets mad and like all of that, like, he still has a level of power over you, right? He went into this with that level of power over you. There is a power imbalance that exists here. And although, you know, anyone can manipulate anyone, he's always going to have that power, and there's always going to be uneven leaning towards him. He has so much of a life on you that it is harder to be manipulated by someone who is that much younger, right? Like, you don't have a lot of the life like experience and understanding to be able to manipulate him in the same way that he could manipulate you. He has power over you. And although, yes, everyone has the ability to manipulate anyone, the way this relationship started was through a power dynamic in the first place, right? So like, you can be a bad partner back, but he is always going to hold a lot of the blame. He is never going to be a good guy. You can also be a bad guy, but you are also always going to be a victim, and he is always going to be a bad guy, you know? Like, that's how it works with a dynamic like this in a relationship that started the way that this did. To end on that really concerning note of like dismissing and denying any sort of power imbalance in this relationship by ending it with, I'm in a dark romance and it works for me. Dark romance is inherently problematic. It's called dark romance. Like, it is inherently problematic. It is not something that we should be idealizing and striving for. It is one thing to read or watch something that is like a specific genre like that. It is one thing to enjoy dark romance in a fictional sense. It is another to put yourself into a situation like that because you like reading it in fiction, right? And I've made a couple of videos about like dark romance before, and it got met with a bunch of like mixed reactions and conversations around like censorship and that sort of stuff. And like, I hear that argument. I hear you out, right? I think that you can write what you want. You can read what you want. That's fine, whatever. Freedom of expression. And like, sometimes specific genres and reading specific scenarios or whatever helps you out. That's fine, whatever. However, there is this issue of like media literacy and also intent, right? Where like some people are going into dark romance and writing sort of fucked up dark romantic plot lines specifically for the way of romanticizing and sexualizing something that like is inherently problematic. And then there are people like this who lack a level of media literacy and like life experience to go into it critically and read it as though it is a bad thing, right? There are ways to write dark romance and have it be like more of a commentary, or have it be known that this isn't something to strive for and that is good. And there is a way to go into it where you are romanticizing it and like wishing for it. And I think we're at a point where there's so many people who genuinely are like consuming this content and like thinking that it's actually good and something that they strive for in a real life situation. And there are a lot of people who write it for the same reasons. And I think that there needs to be a conversation around that specifically. And we need to actually have conversations around the media that we are consuming and what is and isn't okay. There is a line, and a lot of people seem to fall on the wrong side of that. And I think that if you are sitting here in a relationship with a massive age gap and a power imbalance, and you say, I'm in a dark romance and I like it, you are admitting that this relationship is toxic, because the core of dark romance is that those relationships are toxic and usually they lack consent. It is one thing to enjoy fiction and another to let yourself be groomed because you read it in a book. One of the most concerning and upsetting parts of their relationship that I think really demonstrates and brings to light just the level of control this man has over her, and how much she is willing to, you know, let go of herself and like her identity and become whatever he wants her to, is the racism that exists within this relationship. Like, it's horrible. It is so concerning and so upsetting. And it starts with this one TikTok. Girl who only likes white men. Guy who never liked black girls, but you look exotic. Well, there's a first time for everything, right? Proposes 8 months later on Christmas. No, absolutely not. Please, for the love of God, have some self-respect. Please. Like, you are not special. A man or anyone like comes up to you and is like, you know, I don't usually date black girls. I'm only really interested in white women, but like, you look exotic. You're different. You're special. You are unique. Run. You are not special. That is first thing, straight up, a manipulation tactic straight off the bat. Because as soon as someone tells you that you are special, and that is how they get you, is that you then try to remain special. Like, you now know, oh, he doesn't like black girls, but he likes me. That means I've got to do everything I can to maintain that. I have to remove my blackness from myself so he continues to like me, because I'm not like the other black girls, right? Like, that's the mentality that it has. It's like pick me girls, right? It's like the internalized misogyny that so many women have, and how they like reject anything that they think men are going to dislike. It's like they will throw away their femininity or their masculinity or whatever. They will do what they can to appeal to men who say that you're not like the other girls. You're special. You're different. I like you and I hate other women. Like, him saying he likes you, he's racist. Why do you want to be with a racist man? I don't understand why you would want to be in a relationship with a racist man. I especially don't get why you would want to have a child who will be black with a racist man. Why are you doing that? It's so sad. It's so sad. And like, obviously he wanted to make her feel special because it's easier to manipulate her then, and the fact that she was 19 really aided in that, because 19-year-olds, they don't know better, right? Like, they're adults and they know things, but you're still at a point where you trust like adults more. We keep going in circles, coming back to the fact that she was 19 and he was 41, and that's what their content centers around, and that's what their entire relationship centers around, and she doesn't see it as a problem. He knows it is, but enjoys it. This whole thing of racism within their relationship, both the external from him and the internal from herself, it gets worse. It's quite horrifying and like very upsetting, because she obviously just lets it happen, and has like accepted that this is the way that it is, and that she needs to reject her blackness in order to be good enough for him. And what I think this next TikTok, I think, really displays the dynamic of their relationship really perfectly. They don't do very many TikToks where they're talking. This is one of the only ones, and I think that really speaks for itself. So let's have a watch.
Why don't I style my edges?
Okay, I got this.
Okay.
Because doing that looks freaking stupid, okay? It's hair. It's supposed to be there.
It's just my hair.
The rest of the hair is normal, and then what? The front is supposed to be freaking laid down? Like, what the hell? Like, I don't know who thinks that looks good, because it doesn't, okay? If anyone that ever told you that shit looks stupid. It looks dumb, okay? If you want to do it, keep doing it. It's not for her. And I
don't like it either, no.
See?
Just our personal opinion, yeah.
She wasn't doing it when we met. She's not doing it now. So it didn't start from me, but that's how I feel. So, you know, people have different things that they like. That's not something that
thanks for having my back, babe.
I like.
Thanks.
Or she likes.
Yeah.
You know, I do think she likes. She does things I like. Some things we agree on.
That's right.
Firstly, bro, they didn't ask you. This question was not addressed to you. This question was addressed to her. The fact that this question was asked to her, why don't you style your edges? And she opens her mouth and immediately he comes in and goes, because it's stupid. It looks ridiculous. If anyone ever tells you that it looks good, they're lying to you because it's so stupid. When it's coming to a hairstyle that is a black hairstyle, that is something that like black women do with their hair. It's almost exclusively done by them. So not only is he speaking over his wife without being addressed, but also he is calling an inherently like black hairstyle ugly and bad and weird and gross. Like he is coming in here and being like, my wife will not style her hair in the way that other black women will. Like her hair is normal, referring to her like straight hair, and she's not going to do anything different with it. Like just enforcing, the idea of he likes her best when she separates herself as much as she can from black culture. She has to remove herself as much as she can from presenting black outside of, her skin color, which she cannot change. And then, obviously she sees this and hears this and feels this and like is going to continue to separate herself from blackness in every other facet and aspect of their life because he is telling her that that is what is expected of her. He has made her know, like he has made it known that he does not like black girls, that she is the exception to this rule. And that if she wants to maintain that position, she has to be as far away from that as she can be. So she has to be who he wants her to be. At the end being like, she does what I like, I do things that she likes. What do you do? What do you do? What has she told you have to change about yourself and your culture and who you are? There's also this one. It says, POV, it's White History Month. And she is wearing a t-shirt that says, I love my white boyfriend, with a picture of his face on it. And it just makes me so sad, right? Like this one really speaks for itself here. It really is just the biggest, like, pick me energy. And like, obviously in this situation too, she's married. She's already been picked in theory, but she has to like constantly prove that she is different. She has to constantly prove that she deserves to be chosen by this racist man. She has to constantly like reject other black people and like remove herself from that and separate herself from that and be like, I'm not like them. I'm separate from them. I don't give a shit about them. And she herself is so racist. And I think that that's probably always been there. I imagine that she probably struggled a lot growing up. Internalized racism is a thing, obviously. She is, unsurprisingly, a Trump supporter. Like, I don't doubt that she wasn't racist before. That's how she ended up in this relationship in the first place. But I do also believe that it's most definitely gotten worse. It's most definitely to a point where it's like not only projecting a lot of harmful stuff onto other people, but like constantly being told herself and like reflecting and putting that on herself a lot. I can only imagine how difficult it must be to struggle with your identity in this way. Like, going into this relationship so young makes it so easy to be led to this point where you reject your identity so much because, like, although, as I said, I'm sure, she went into this already with this internalized racism that existed, but having it go to this, like, extreme point where she is constantly rejecting blackness and doing everything she can to appeal to white people, specifically this white man, and do everything in her power to like show that effectively like white people are better, that I think is largely attributed to the fact that she has been told that she has to do that in order to continue to be loved by this man. And that's really fucking sad. The next one I'm about to show you is whatever you think I'm about to show you, it's worse. How did you two meet? He was my slave owner in 1620, and I vowed to find him in every lifetime. And then he comes and hugs her. This isn't funny. It's not funny. It's not cute. It's so harmful and so concerning that you can say this and think that that's like funny, that that's normal, that that's not like an incredibly fucked up thing to say. And once again, same with like the dark romance comment from before, like inadvertently admitting the fact that the power dynamic in this relationship is so fucked up. Like, you said it as a joke despite it being so incredibly unfunny, but it really was just admitting to the fact that he fucking owns you. And again, that like correlates to the dark romance thing, because there's a lot of dark romance shit that exists of like slave owner relationships and like people owning each other. Like, that is something that exists in dark romance. So if that is something that she has read and seen as a teenager and enjoyed and is like applied to her life, then she could genuinely be kind of thinking like this and thinking that this is like a normal, okay, good thing. And it's just so incredibly upsetting and concerning, and I'm so sad for her. But like, a step further than that, right, is that like, obviously I'm incredibly sad for her because she got herself into this relationship and has spent the past 6 years with this man who hates her and is effectively just with her because he gets to manipulate and mold someone into a person that he wants her to be. But they also have a black daughter, right? I think it's really important to remind you that they have a young child who is obviously, she is black. And she has two parents who are incredibly racist. And they live in Poland, by the way. And Poland is quite a racist place in itself as well, right? So this poor child is going to be raised in a country where there are very few people who look like her, by parents who despise her for her skin color. The identity crisis that she is going to experience growing up, I fear, is going to be quite a lot. And I just feel it must be so difficult to be, you know, this kid growing up in this house where you like see these videos of your parents where they effectively say they're like ashamed of your own race, like your own skin color. Like, she will never get the opportunity to like learn that it's okay to be different because everyone around her doesn't think that it is. They're not going to be like, it's okay. It's like, you're valid, you're good. Like, she's going to be so separated from any sort of like black culture at all. She's going to be so separated from like any of that community because her parents are going to keep her away from it. They're not going to let her like learn her heritage or anything. She is just surrounded by people who hate black people, despite one of them also being black, right? Like, that is going to really teach so much internalized racism that is going to be impossible to break away from when she's older. And it's so sad. It breaks my heart. This relationship is just like, it's got so many facets of fucked up. It just never fucking ends. Like, every single piece of information you get about them, it just gets worse. Like, they have this one TikTok that I actually have seen before, but I didn't know it was them. I didn't know about like the age gap or anything. I just saw this TikTok ages ago, and I feel like this once again really describes the power dynamic and the way that he views her and their family, and that is this TikTok.
So I just got back from the store, and my husband goes, "Did you enjoy your time? That was the other half to my Christmas gift." I'm like, "Where? What is it?"
I babysit for hours. I babysat for hours.
He says, "Freedom. You were gone for 2 hours and I babysat. Your gift was freedom. Baby, I love you." And he kissed me.
I was home with the baby. The greatest gift of all for a mother. I love you. I love you too.
You cannot babysit your own kids. You are their father. You are the father. That's not babysitting, it's parenting. The other half of your Christmas present, wife, is that I looked after my own kid while you went and grocery shopped. Like, you went and did a different task. He doesn't view them as people. He just views her as someone to do shit for him. That is all she is. Like, he loves her for what she does for him. For the way, like, that's literally it. He almost forgot to even say I love you to his kid. He clearly doesn't give a fuck about her, because looking after her for 2 hours is a massive ask. That's a huge task. She should be so grateful he was alone with his own child for 2 hours while she got food so they could all eat. What the fuck? This relationship is so fucked, and it makes me so mad and so upset. And it's one of those ones where it's like, I sometimes look at relationships like this where, you know, someone has been like groomed or manipulated and is in a relationship where they're trapped, and I'm like, I hope you realize and I hope you get out. And I do hope that, but I don't have high hopes for it, unfortunately. And, you know, I think that she being raised in a conservative household by also her mother and her stepdad have a very large age gap as well. It's how she was raised, what she thinks is normal and okay and suitable. These values are kind of instilled in her. And I think that, you know, she has genuinely convinced herself that this is like a normal thing, and that being restricted and having your freedom restricted and being manipulated is just a part of life, right? Like, I think that it's upsetting, and I think that, you know, I am absolutely going to say that she has been groomed and she is manipulated. But I think that she probably even knows that, and she just genuinely thinks that that's how life goes. I don't think she will remove herself from the relationship, which is upsetting, especially for, you know, like, she may have made her peace with it and thinks that this is normal and what she wants, even though it's restricting her and, you know, damaging what her life could be and like who she is as a person. But her daughter doesn't, her daughter is going to be raised with this as well, and that's really sad as well, right? Like, we're continuing this terrible cycle of internalized racism, internalized misogyny, and like the normalization of letting yourself, you know, give up your identity for the sake of making a man happy. And it makes me sad that that cycle is most definitely going to be repeated. I just wish that people allowed themselves some life. Sometimes, you know, like, I wish people listened, and I wish that, like, we were, you know, made more aware of instances like this. Like, I wish that we were talked to more about what, like, grooming can look like and what is and isn't okay. I wish we learned more about, like, consent and power dynamics. And I wish that, like, I just wish we learned so much more about the way relationships are formed, and like what healthy relationships look like, and like what you need to do to keep yourself safe, and like what you are worth and where your value is, and like how you can live your life, right? Like, we don't learn enough of that. That's not something that we are told, because, like, you know, as soon as they say that they're going to bring that sort of shit into school, you have people being like, they don't need to teach that at school. That's something that your parents should be teaching. Teachers in school and the state have no business being in kids' lives when it comes to forming relationships and marriage and sex, etc. That should be on the parents. And it's like, the reason it's not on the fucking parents, the reason it should be in school and outside of the house, is that, like, your parents are going to teach you what they fucking know and what they value. And some parents are shitty people. Some parents aren't going to give a fuck. Some parents want you to end up in relationships where you are mistreated because they think that that's what's normal, because that's how they were raised. You need to have these conversations outside of the home. You need to have these conversations in safe places with, like, unbiased views, where you are learning about what is and isn't okay, what relationships look like, what consent looks like, what you can and can't do, what boundaries are, how to set boundaries, how to enforce boundaries. Like, all of this is so important, and so many people hate the idea of it being taught at school because they hate the idea of losing that power. It's so upsetting that, like, people who are against it being taught in school are the people who are in power, because they like the system that we have, where this cycle of manipulation and abuse is continued forever. And it's so frustrating and so upsetting, and it harms so many people, especially women, especially queer people, especially people of color. And it's so fucking sad. And I hope that one day it changes. But with the state of the world right now, I don't see it happening anytime soon. And on that really cheery note, I think that I'm going to end the video here. I hope that you did enjoy watching. I'm just sad. I've made myself fucking sad, and I'm sorry if I've made all of you sad as well. We'll be sad together. A huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons: Aurora, Sienna, Alicia, Muriel, Bree, Bay the Trucker, Chastity, Beckett, Prismatic Petey, Sushi, Uh-Oh, It's Crigolo, Phil the Duck, River, Queen Glimmer, Ella, Mr. Noodle, Radsack, Knitting Menace, Samuel, Chris, Ellie, Alexis, and Bobby. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes.